Hello and welcome to this episode of The Venue. We'll kick off with a trip down to Mama Stone's to see Beatroots' event Moustaches and Madness in aid of Movember. Let's go see what Becky got up to down there.
Hi, I'm Rebecca and I'm outside Mama Stone's tonight for Moustaches and Madness organised by Beatroots. The event's in association with Movember. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's men growing moustaches for November to raise awareness for prostate cancer. There's going to be a wide range of different live acts tonight, and there might even be a little bit of fire as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Right, let's go and check it out.
A family so concrete from the outside, parents like rocks, easy to confide. On the inside, one rock is crumbling, the other is sinking, the third is a pebble moving away, damaging without thinking. Still all together with pillars of sand, the flows of water untold, make it even harder to understand. The rocks used to be different, not rolling downhill, for I am the fourth, the pneumatic drill.
I pushed him to the ground and said, get out of here, you old fool. When the morning breaks and that noose is swinging high, I don't give a damn about my soul, I said, I'm gonna fucking die. Butterfly, you blow my mind. That rock you landing on my ear and then you crawled inside. Now I see you perfectly behind closed eyes. I wanna lie to you, but I don't wanna lie to you, cause I can't recall the better days. So I'm gonna shine on me, I get you sophisticated lady, you got it all.
Oh, what can I do? I'm just a little baby. What if the lights go out and maybe, and the wind just starts to moan outside my door? He followed me home now, good night moon. I want the sun, and if it's not here soon, I might be done. It won't be too soon till I say good night moon.
I'm here with Chris, who's organised tonight's event. So tell me a little bit about how you went about organising it.
Okay, so we've been running this now. This is the third year we've run it, and we started off generally with an idea to kind of bring creative people together and promote new music, essentially. And so that's been going pretty well, and we tend to upload people's new music onto Facebook and all that kind of thing, just try and really promote them. We just invite people along and see who comes and have a ball of a time, really. Yeah.
Are you pleased with tonight, how tonight's gone?
Yeah, absolutely. It's had a nice turnout, I think. We had the fire outside, we had enough people to be manageable and not create too much danger. And it's as long as people are seeing good new music, then it's all a positive thing, I think.
Yeah, there's a good variety of different music and acts tonight, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Sometimes you come to a night and you don't necessarily hear original music or stuff that inspires you, but I think we try and put on stuff where people are they're experimenting with their music and they've got something to offer. And as long as people come away from it feeling like they've seen something new and refreshing, then it's always a good sign.
All that moonshine was scary. Drinking myself silly now for 3 days by the sea. My loneliness is craving, I'm burning. Well, help me take control of me.
Well, next up, an interview with someone actually capable of growing a moustache. Our producer Liz went to have a chat with We Are Scientists frontman Keith Murray when the band came down to play a gig at our very own Lemon Grove. Let's see what they had a chat about.
I'm Liz and I'm here with Keith from We Are Scientists. So Keith, you're playing tonight at quite an intimate venue. Do you guys prefer playing at intimate venues, or would you rather more festivals?
Well, it depends on which level you're asking. On a financial level, let's play festivals every day. Let's just take the check, play the half-hour set, and get on speed to the next possible festival. If there's another one that day, let's do 2 a day. But in terms of the joy of the show, I vastly prefer this style show. The smaller, the better, I say.
So Barbara is your latest album.
Yes.
And where did you get the inspiration for this one?
Well, we sort of added Andy Burrows as a full-time drummer sort of immediately before we started writing for this record, and I think kind of got us excited to have a third band member again, and like kind of made us excited to be a live band. So I think the idea for this record was that we really wanted to do a pretty live-sounding record. So that was generally the impetus for it, is that we wanted a record that would be fun and like powerful live.
Actually, people have compared Barbara to With Love and Squalor, your first album. Is that something that you agree with, that it is similar?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was also our intention with Love and Squalor, because when we wrote the songs for that first record, we were an unsigned band and we weren't really recording records. So we would just, we were playing in clubs in New York. So essentially, the only valuable song for us would be a song that was effective live, because that was the only way for us to gain fans. So essentially, all those songs on that first record were written to be, listenable, at least in a dingy club in New York.
What about with your videos? I always find that there's always quite a story to them. Who comes up with the stories?
Yeah, I mean, it's always us. I think, we sort of have an aversion to the sort of video that's just bands trying to look very cool while they pretend to play the song. And I think sort of our general interest in cinema, which is kind of a thing that Chris and I had been interested in getting into before we were in the band, I think just sort of lends. I think our tactic is generally to try to make short films that are scored by our songs.
What about, do you have any funny anecdotes? I'm sure you do, with funny fan moments.
Yeah, I'm sure I must. Oh man, there's a guy at Dot to Dot Festival, which we played a few days ago in Manchester, who I put on our guest list. I didn't know him, but he asked and said that he was broke and a student, and it was his birthday, and could I please put him on the guest list, because he really desperately wanted to see us. And there was room on our guest list, so I complied. But what I didn't know is that Dot to Dot Festival automatically made any guest list an all-access pass. And the guy spent a lot of time hanging out in our dressing room and was consistently kicked out by our tour manager. Apparently, I heard that he was kicked out like no fewer than 4 times while we weren't around. But I sort of admire his tenacity that he just kept on returning.
And finally, with the festive season upon us, I'm sure some of you may be worrying about what to buy for your more musically minded loved ones. So here at the venue, we've compiled a helpful list of albums for you to peruse and consider purchasing.
Hello, season's greetings from the venue. I'm Andy Henley, and we have decided to help you out with your prospective Christmas presents by compiling a list of all the different albums that you might want to get for a loved one. Starting off with your mum, you might want to think about getting Michael Bublé's new Christmas album. Now, this man has been around on the scene for a long time, and he has been famous as a bit of a lady slayer for a while, so that might shock you a little bit, the idea of getting that for a loved one. So instead of that, maybe you could go for Christina Perri's Love Strong if you don't like the idea of your mum being serenaded by a Canadian love man. Next up for your dad, the new Snow Patrol record could be a good bet, with their retro rock vibes fitting in with many a dad rocker's tendencies, but if you don't really fancy that kind of modern rock thing, you can't go wrong with Frank Sinatra's greatest hits. The man is a legend, and your dad thinks so too. On to your siblings. Now, first for your sister, you might want to consider going with Rihanna's album Talk That Talk. She is a bit of a sexy lady, it must be said, and if your sister is perhaps not up to the sensual level of Rihanna, then you might want to consider instead going with One Direction's album Up All Night, as their cheesy pretend pop will probably satisfy anyone up to the age of 4. For your brother, you might want to consider going with Ed Sheeran's album Plus. The Flamehead singer-songwriter has been garnering acclaim from all corners after his nouvelle folk stylings have impressed many an urbane young man. For somebody a bit more club-minded, you might want to go with Example. Playing in the Shadows is the name of his album, and definitely a good choice for anybody who enjoys a donk. Next, onto your cousin. Now, broadly defining a cousin as somebody who either likes pop or cool music, you might want to either go with Ollie Murs, in case you didn't know, as his relenting happiness will surely bring joy to any Christmas household, or if they prefer something with a bit more musical edge to it and, let's face it, just downright awesome, Florence and the Machine's new album Ceremonials is definitely a good bet. It is amazing. Next we come to your grandparents. Now, after your inevitable present of socks that you probably already own from your gran, you might want to go with Westlife's Greatest Hits album. Don't remember Westlife? Well, your gran certainly does. If that doesn't float her boat, then you might want to go with smooth singer Tony Bennett's album Duets Part 2. He has the most amazing lugubrious voice and your nan will love it. For your granddad, if he's still awake by the time it comes to giving presents, you might want to go with Il Divo's Wicked Game. Sounds controversial. If that's a bit full on, those kind of Simon Cowley opera singers warbling away for your granddad, go for, now that's what I call classical, for some of the greatest pieces of music ever written by the greatest composers that your granddad will surely appreciate. Now we come to your best friend. What possible album can you go with for your better? Well, we reckon Now That's What I Call Christmas would be a good place to start because, let's face it, who doesn't love Christmas music? If that isn't really their thing and they prefer the sound of warbling an arena at 4 a.m. after God knows how many shots, maybe go with tiny singer Bruno Mars's album Doo-Wops and Hooligans. And finally, we come to that extra special somebody in your life. Now, for a girlfriend, you might want to think about getting Beyoncé's album 4. It's a powerful album full of powerful lyrics and powerful singing, as you'd expect from such a powerful lady. Alternately, you might want to go with Maroon 5's album Hands All Over. Its gorgeous silky pop stylings will surely please any lady. For your boyfriend, you might want to think about going with Coldplay's bizarrely titled album Milo Xyloto. Despite sounding like a planet from the outer reaches of Zebulon 8, its pop stylings are actually pretty impressive and it's a good listen, worth a shout. If your boy is a bit more into the kind of bouncing beats of Rococo's, then you might want to go with Clubland 20. Just a general treat for people who like to go out raving even in the cold wintry weather. Well, that just about wraps it up. Hopefully that'll have given you an idea of a present to get for most of your family members / friends. As always, the list is just a guideline. Don't feel you have to stick to it. We're only trying to help, obviously. Do your own thing. Season's greetings from us all at the venue, and I hope you have a lovely Christmas.
Well, that's it from the venue in 2011. We will see you next year. Thanks for watching.